All right, all right, all right. Welcome to Capital Culture. I'm your host, Christopher Wheeler, and today we have a very informative guest. He was recently on the XXL cover for Artists to Watch for. We have CashBurner, also close friends with Tekashi 6ix9ine. How are we doing today, man?
Hey, Chris, what's going on, bro? How's everything, man? We good, man.
You know, we working up here up north, you know, but it's nice to see you down there getting in that work, and we're gonna cover it all in this interview. So thank you for sitting down with me, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me.
No worries, no worries. So when I was breaking down this interview a few days ago, when we originally touched base, I was trying to figure out how I was gonna tackle the interview. And there was a lot of surprising factors I found out about you. So I kind of just chose this one to start, and then we'll ease our way in. So when I was going through your discography of work, I actually saw that you dropped a gospel album in June or July, and it went top 20 on Apple Music. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Oh yeah, that was definitely a dope experience. I did that project with my man John Star Icon. He's from Staten Island. We came together. We did a 4 to 5 track EP. Mm-hmm. We wanted to do something different. You know, we used to like making records about where we're from and the ghetto and the streets and everything. So we wanted to be positive and do something different and put out a different message. So that project, we released it in June, and it debuted on number 17 in the top 200 of the Christian gospel charts on iTunes.
So I was watching one of your earlier interviews, and you mentioned you wanted to put out a more positive message. Now, you also said you felt like when you started getting into the hip hop game and whatnot, you felt like you were conditioned in the sense you felt you needed to fit the market. What made you change and feel like, man, I want to make more positive music in the sense of like, let's put out a gospel record instead of a gangster record?
Well, when I first came out, if you listen to my first project in 2012, it was African American Nightmare. I've always had those type of topics in my music. But along the process from 2012, I ended up going to jail. I ended up getting into different situations. And when I went to jail and I came home, my music started to get a little bit more aggressive. I was angry. I was pissed off about the situation. Because in the beginning, I wanted to be a conscious rapper. I didn't want to do what I was normally known to be doing, from being in the streets and running around with people and doing some of the negative things. So when I started, I wanted to be positive. But then, like I said, I started going back into my ways, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, hanging around different people. So when I came home and I went beat that situation, my music started to get more aggressive, and I started going back to the streets. But then after dropping 9+ projects and kind of not talking about the same things because I am creative, I just wanted to do something different that had no type of street tone to it, no type of negative influences. So that was what that gospel project was about.
Fair enough. And actually, there was a study a few years ago, which was kind of interesting because when I was looking at it, the study was 82% of rap lyrics are detrimental to our own community. Now, I read that fact and I was like, it's kind of catch-22 because like you can use the music to, in a sense, to like, you can use it for good if you want to like get yourself hyped for a baseball game or a sports game, this, that, and the third, but you got to draw a line, you know what I mean? You don't want to like put too much of an example out for the use, you know, because the music is good and you can say some pretty crazy shit over an 808 beat, but at the end of the day, is it the best example? So that being said, it's really nice to see like someone be conscious of that and make a little bit of an effort to make a different tone of music. So I respect you for that, you know. But with that being said, I got to segue with this, because how do you go from making gospel music to arguably hanging out with one of the biggest gangster rappers in the world? How did that come about?
Well, the gospel album came later. Like that project was actually project number 9. So I always had that type of music and always had that type of feel to me. But me and Tekashi came to the club that I worked at, I do security. And I was in the middle of the aisle and I happened to see a commotion at the door, and the door was getting backed up. So I went to the front to see what was going on. It was Cannon and it was Tekashi. Like, he had a ski mask on, it was COVID. I recognized the tattoos. I was like, oh shit. Yo, what's good? He stuck his hand out. He said, yo, what's up, bro? They're not trying to let me in. So I said something to the manager. I said, yo, we gonna let him in? Like, what's going on? Manager was kind of nervous about letting him in. I was like, yo, bro, coming to chill. bro coming to have fun. Like, fuck all that shit you hearing about what he did or whatever, or what was going on. Let him in. So the manager was like, all right, cool. So they let him in. They're playing my music all the time in the club anyway. The DJ, shout out to Joey G. So my music was on. One of the security guards, my man Danny, brought me, you know, I went to the back of the VIP section. We ended up chopping it up. Tekashi started following me right then and there. We was gonna take a picture in the VIP section, but Cannon was like, nah, it's kind of too hot right now, whatever. And I ended up going outside, getting on the phone. Cannon and Tekashi came out, me and him took the picture. And ever since then, we've been cool. You know, that's how it started.
Now, as an artist, the one thing I wanted to know is you taking that picture with Tekashi and you posting that. You must have caught a little bit of heat, but at the same time, did you think it was more of a benefit to you to post that picture and try and elevate yourself as a musician, as opposed to not take the picture because he's a quote unquote? I kind of go on along the lines what Whack 100 was saying, in the sense is he was a kid that got caught up in a pretty serious situation, and he's not a snitch because he's a civilian. But I don't want to get into those politics. But that's where I kind of see it. So where did you see it when it came to helping your career and like I'm gonna take a picture and become cool with this guy? How did you see it playing out?
And when we first took the picture at the club, I wasn't even thinking about the music or nothing. I know he said he wanted to work with me in the beginning with the music when we was at the club. So when I first took the picture and I posted it, the club didn't really get too much crazy backlash. It was a little bit here and there, but it's when Tekashi came to my house. First he came to my house, that's when all the crazy shit started happening. Like, people from my neighborhood and the rappers out there trying to make a show. Now me, I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. Like, that's my mentality. But at the time when he came to my house, I'm dealing with a situation where my family's recovering from COVID and I'm taking care of my elderly grandmother at the time that was alive. She ended up dying. Rest in peace to her. But so when he came to my house during that time period. And after we came, you know, we went to the mall, we went to the barbershop, we came home, I posted a picture. My mentality would have been in the beginning, if I wasn't taking care of my family, it would have been a whole different situation. Like, a lot of those niggas that was talking that shit about me taking a picture with him and him coming to my house, it wouldn't have went the way it went. I was being cool. I was being like trying to be logical with niggas that's ignorant.
Yeah.
And I'm dealing with a situation where I'm taking care of my grandmother. So I'm not even really thinking about the shit that these niggas got going on. Like, a lot of the niggas in my neighborhood is Crip. I'm not a Crip. I don't give a fuck about your gang bullshit. I don't care about what the fuck you got going on. That's your bullshit. So a lot of niggas was playing with my character. And one of the rappers that was playing with my character, it would have went a whole different way if it wasn't for that situation. So I didn't really care about none of that. You know what I mean? Tekashi always been a good dude to me. He been 100 with me. That's bro, you know? So I don't got nothing to do with none of that, you know?
100%. Now, I also see, like, within the last year, he's gotten out and he's taken this big hiatus with music. You being so close to him in the past year, do you think it was harder for him to adjust socially than he thought?
Well, he did shows. Like, when the first time he being out on the road with him was in Orlando, when it was his first show back. It was at a club down there. It was at a club down there in Orlando.
Of course, yeah.
So he's going through what he went through with all that shit in New York and dealing with the personal stuff he got with his family. It was a lot. There was a lot of that took a toll on him. So when he came to Orlando, that was his first show back. I'm thinking he back. You know, he did the Orlando show, and then we ended up going to Miami for the Triller Fest. He shut that shit down.
I have a few questions about that, but continue.
So he was to me, he was getting back into being 6ix9ine, about to drop music and everything. So that's how I took it.
Now, you said he did his first show. I believe it was back in like May or whatever. April. You kind of feel like you felt he was back, but I see he's on a certain few blogs. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them, with Steve Will Do It blogs and Nelk blogs. And one of the things he was super conscious about, he posted it on his Instagram, and he may have brought it up with you, is when he got out, he gained a lot of weight. And he was very conscious about the public's perception of that. So in the recent Nelk videos, I've seen him take 4 or 5 laxatives, and now that's more so like, so he keeps losing weight. Is he comfortable with his public image from your perspective?
I think he's comfortable with his image. Like every time we out, he's never shied away from the people. Like when we was down in Georgia and we stopped at a Chick-fil-A, he took pictures with everybody that worked at Chick-fil-A. When we was leaving, there was people running from the drive-thru in the parking lot. He took pictures with everybody, and I think he's very conscious. He's very happy, I think, with his image, to be honest with you. He's out and about, he's moving around. You know, I know he did a lot of work with Steve Will Do, so. No, I definitely, I have a few questions on that a little lower down in the interview. But you said when you met 6ix9ine, you kind of realized there was a difference between 6ix9ine and Danny. Well, the first time I met him and everything, when he came to the club, I'm expecting what I've seen on the internet. I'm expecting what I've seen in the videos. I'm expecting what I've seen. And not to say that's not real or who he is, but the person I met has been a very humble, respectful, intelligent young man. And he's always carried himself with a lot of respect. So when people say that he's this bad person, he's this animal and this monster, I haven't seen that. He's never been that way towards me. He's always been respectful. He's done more for me than anybody has done for me in my music career. And I'm telling you, I know all the rappers from Jersey. Yeah, I've met damn near a lot of the top rappers in the game now. One of my mans works for 50 Cent, and shout out to them. They've always posted my content when I drop something on thisis50.com. They're actually the first people in the industry to show me love from an artist standpoint. Shout out my man Jeremy on Betters. But Tekashi, Danny, he's a good dude, man. I ain't got nothing bad to say about it. He's 100 in my eyes. You know what I'm saying? I saw you on one of the shows. I think it was the Chillerfest show. I saw you walking around, and you were kind of just keeping an eye out on things. Now, you said something happened when you jumped in the crowd. Do you want to elaborate on that for me? Somebody was talking shit in the crowd. I guess like they was going to try to do something, but when he jumped in the crowd, he was right there. He had every opportunity to do whatever he did, and he ain't do nothing. Then he jumped in the crowd. I ended up pulling him back out with the security from Triller. We ended up going back on stage, performed the whole night, and it was a good night. No incidents, no problems, no nothing. Can we expect eventually CashBurner featuring 6ix9ine record maybe in the next few years? I told 6ix9ine I'm ready to rap when he's ready. Whenever he's ready to get in the studio and rap, I'm ready, man. I've been ready since we met. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready to do records with him. I'm actually supposed to be opening up for him when he goes on these shows and everything. So that was the plan too. So that was what we talked about when he came to my house. So I'm supposed to be going to Russia, a lot of the shows that he got coming up. So I'm whenever he's ready to do music, I'm ready, man. And I've been ready, man. I'm looking forward to it. I'll make my CashBurner Tekashi sign for the show. So don't worry. You said it kind of manifested from coming to he was coming to your house, and your friendship manifested quite a lot. Now, I was scrolling the Instagram. Now, it's one thing for him to pull up your house, but it's another thing for someone to call a private jet for you. How did that feel? Yeah. I never been on a jet in my life, man, and I'm 34, so that was crazy. And I took the jet with his mother. Me and his mother flew down to Triller. And when I met his mother, that full circled everything from his situation that was going on, because his mother's young. Like his mother, I think his mother's like in the late 50s, but she's an elderly woman. Like she's like for the people that was doing what they was doing to try to kidnap his mother and try to do harm to his family. Yeah, that sent me over the edge, because I'm a mama's boy. I love my mom. If something like that happened to my mother, I'd be on go. Like I'd be looking to kill somebody if they ever try to do something with my mother like that. So his mother's like one of the nicest ladies in the world, and I took that jet with her. So that experience was just crazy, and I shout out to 6ix9ine for that. Kind of brought you closer to him, you'd say. Yeah, definitely. So I shout out 6ix9ine for doing that, man. Like he put me on my first jet to come down there to the show with his mom and his family. So that was definitely an experience being on the jet. I've been on planes and everything, but the jet ride is different.
Hey, I'm still looking to tick the jet off too, so no worries. 100%. Now, we both know there is supposed to be a track that was released last week. It didn't come out. Speak on his 6-month hiatus, and do you think how is he approaching coming back to dropping music? Because we heard the little Tim feature was supposed to come out. Academic spoke last night that it's not happening anymore. What's happening? Is there going to be a song coming out soon? Because I know a lot of fans, as you know, are waiting for some music. What can you tell us?
I know he's coming out with music. A lot of the fans, I was in the Clubhouse and I was trying to explain this to them too, that it's like artists at his statue, it's business, it's marketing, it's a lot of stuff that goes into it. And when you have the music industry trying to blackball you and take you off top playlists and stuff like that, you're fighting a fight. Like he said, I remember him saying that it's like you got handcuffs on and you're fighting a fight against a music industry that's trying to embed themselves in the street culture. And the music industry and the streets are two different things. And it seems like the music industry was real into him, quote unquote, telling, and everything's being thrown around, snitching and rat and all this other shit. Like, the music industry shouldn't even have those terms because it's business at the end of the day. Agreed. They're not even streets. Like, a lot of them people in the music industry has not been a day foot in the street. So why are you following street protocol? Like, I remember Ebro, like I said something to Ebro on Instagram today, like, you never gave him a fair shake. You never wanted to interview him. You never sat down with him. You never wanted to see what he was like or whatever. You going off of everything that you're seeing. And like, hypothetically, if a gangster ran in Hot 97 right now, everybody that works there, radio personalities, DJs, the business office, they gonna tell him get on the floor and ain't nobody gonna do nothing about it. So you're the music industry. Why are you talking about the streets? You know what I'm saying? If the music is good, the music is good. It's too many people caught up in this bullshit street. And then a lot of the situation that was going on is not realistic anyway. The streets is fabricated, it's phony, like, you know what I'm saying? So agreed. That's what he's dealing with.
Now, with this rollout you're saying that he's working on, I want to kind of shift in gears in a sense. I know Murphy's his manager. Speak on the fact, do you think he's in good hands with Murphy, and how do they plan to approach the next year in the sense of music wise? I know you said, I think you did say on a Clubhouse, I might have been in there, you might have heard a couple of songs off the next project of 6ix9ine. Now, you don't remember track listing, but you remember the vibes of the song. Was that correct? Did I hear that right?
Yeah, when he came to my house and we was in the race and he was riding around, like, he was playing me a lot of unreleased material songs. And actually, some of those records had like open verses that I was actually wanting to get on. So he has music. Like, he's not, don't think he's not like, doesn't have nothing in the works or nothing. I've heard a lot of this. Those are records that I never heard before. And he was playing me a lot of new music. So he definitely has it.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is a factor in the sense, I kind of wanted you to see if you could get Danny on the phone in the sense, because I wanted to ask you and him this. Because as you said, you just mentioned with the Ebro comment, the music industries trying to fabricate themselves in the streets, this, that, and the third. Now, before Tekashi kind of got mixed up when he first came out with Gummo, this, that, and the third, he got mixed up in gang life pretty quick at 22 years old. You fast forward to the fact he's come out of jail, and now he's hanging around, let's say, kids that are a little bit more his age, that aren't breaking the law. Do you think that's a lot better for his mental, a lot better for his development as a man, as opposed to being around gangsters all the time?
Of course, like, you definitely need good people around you. Like, you definitely need people that's gonna tell you when you fucking up, and people that's gonna have your best interests at hand. Like, when I wasn't around when he was running around with all them dudes in New York, but
100%.
Be on the outside looking in as a music artist, and actually just somebody from the streets and somebody that been around, that has family members. Like, one of my uncles was the biggest drug dealer in New Jersey, and just having cousins and nephews in the streets, that situation was going to be bad. And I could just see that it was going to be bad because they were doing a lot of stuff while he was there. And what they should have been doing was just holding him down, protecting him from anybody that was trying to bring harm to him, and let him be an artist, studio, go on tour, shows. He should have never been in places where you niggas are robbing niggas and you're shooting at people in the Barclays Center and all this bullshit. Because like I said, once they shot in the Barclays Center, that's what made it serious to me. I'm like, oh nah, they not gonna let these niggas get away with this shit. No. Oh, somebody gonna like, you're not gonna just shoot when the Brooklyn Nets play. You gonna just let off shots and you don't think the feds or the police are watching you? I said, nah, he's rolling with the wrong people. He's got people that don't have his best interest.
So you'd say he's assembling a little bit better of a team now. Now, I wanted to ask you on your thoughts of him dropping security. I know you said you're a previous bouncer in life, so I know he has you around, but I consider you guys more friends than that. I know you're a big fucking dude. I was watching you walk around on stage. Like, how tall are you, bro? What are you, 6'6", 6'10"? Like, you look...
Nah, I'm 6'3", man, like 280.
6'3", 280. Okay, yeah. So you're a big fucking dude. But besides you, because I consider you and Danny friends, do you think it was wise for him to drop security, or do you think it's like overblown? The music industry's overblown. Like, those niggas in jail. Is there really not many people trying to run down on them? Aside from the mall.
From my situation, like from what he told me, he didn't like when we went to the mall. It's a mall in Jersey called American Dream. We walked around that whole mall. It was me, him, and Cannon. Nobody recognized it. Now, I'm not saying because we had COVID and we had the mask on and everything.
Yeah.
But even with that, if he would have had like 6 big dudes with him walking around, people are going to start looking to see who's this guy walking around with these muscle dudes and security. So he feels more comfortable without it because it becomes a shit show when he has a whole lot of security. You feel uncomfortable. You feel like
a little more stealth.
You feel like a fish in a fish tank, you know what I'm saying? So when we was at the mall, he was the happiest, man. He roaming around, we cracking jokes, me and Cannon. So I feel like it is like smart. And then at the same time, I just don't think people are gonna do nothing. Like they're not, like it's a lot of talk. Like it's like, unless you want to go to jail forever, be my guest, try something. Yeah. But you want to go to jail. Yeah. I don't want to be in jail.
No. I mean, obviously. Now I want to shift gears a little bit because I know you're quite active on Clubhouse, and to be quite frank, I don't think I would have met you if it weren't for Clubhouse. So I gotta give a shout out to, I think it's CTG who runs the Trolls Nation Clubhouse.
Yeah, shout out to Trolls Nation, man. Everybody in there. CTG,
yeah, they're hard. Shout out Dimo, shout out Bebeto, shout out all the boys in there, Adrian, whatnot. Now I wanted to, I promised them I'd ask you this. Now let's say it's, we're at the end of August and I want to try and do them a favor. Do you think by October 1st, you could arrange for Danny to come in for about 10 minutes in the next month? I know it's a hard ask, but I just think they're trying to do so much good for Danny, and you chopped it up with them, they're just good people and whatnot. So I just wanted to ask for them, from them to you, if maybe you could set that up if Danny dropped by for 10 minutes.
When I see him, the next time I see him or the next time I talk, I'm gonna definitely, that's gonna be like the first order of business and the first thing I'm gonna take care of. Like, you got a lot of people that love you, a lot of people that want to talk to you, a lot of people that want to see you. So I'm gonna tell them definitely. I know it's like people ask me, and it's kind of like, you gotta understand, it's kind of hard to get sometimes because he's so busy, and I don't like to bother him all the time and everything like that, But it's never a bother to him because we friends, and I've always got his back. But I'm definitely gonna tell him, and hopefully Murphy or Cannon can arrange that so he can talk to you.
But my last question to you, and don't worry, I'll cut that out. My last question to you would be, if you were to look in the camera right now and say something to Danny, what would it be?
Oh man, Danny, I love you, bro. You've been a good dude, man. I'm sorry that you had to go through all that bullshit you had to go through with Shotty and all them niggas. I wish I knew you at that time, and I wish I was around at that time. But that's the past. This the future. We're gonna keep moving on. We're gonna keep being successful. And I thank you, and you've done so much for me without even doing so much for me with my career in an indirect way. You've done a lot, and I'm very appreciative and everything that you've done for me as a person. And I love you, bro. Love the family, man. Everything, man. Definitely.
No cap. Well, with that's CashBurner. He has a project coming out October 1st, so you're gonna have to go check that out. His
10th Bad Boy, October 1st.
There you go. There you go. With that being said, I'm your host, Christopher Wheeler. This has been another episode of Capital Culture with CashBurner5000, Tekashi 6IXNINE's close friend and artist. I really thank you, but that's Chris Wheeler and Cash signing off.